of from rags to riches. But you haven't heard a story of from $2 a day to the boardrooms of 500 Fortune 500 companies. And this is the story that we are going to be sharing today. This is Now Tell Us. I'm your host, Anthony Moirore. At Now Tell Us, we have guests come and tell us stories. They come and inspire us. They come and educate us on a subject. And always we are having great guests. And that means that today we also have a great guest. His name is Manuj Aggarwal. And he's going to be here shortly. But before he comes, I'm going to remind you to please share this episode with all your friends. If you have questions, ask. We will do our level best to answer them. And for any comment that you give, we love feedback. So we appreciate you and we thank you in advance. And now I would like to invite you as we go together to meet Manuj to hear this interesting story. Here we go. Hello, Manuj.
Hello, hello. Hi, Anthony. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good, good. Excited to be here.
Yes, we are honored to have you here.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
this
Thank
is
you.
this is Now Tell Us, and we love hearing stories when people tell us, and yours is an interesting one. I'm sure we are going to enjoy this episode.
Thanks. Thanks. Thanks.
Before we go into that, can we know where are you in the world?
I'm in Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, that's and how is the weather today?
It's actually pleasant. Not very sunny. A little bit cloudy, but pleasant. It's almost the end of summer here. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, and I love summer. I mean, just the period between the change of summer into going into fall and winter
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a good time. And when winter is ending and summer is coming, those are the times I love. The
Yeah.
spring,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, because the weather is fair to every part.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and that's good. Yeah. So, what is it that you do? If we may begin there for someone who's just coming and is asking, "Who's Manuj? Why should
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
listen
Yeah.
to him?"
Yeah. So, well, my background is technology. I've been in the technology space, building software and applications for large companies like Microsoft and Pearson Education and IBM, and also a lot of startups, technology startups, where we, have built technology for these startups, brought it to market. Some of these startups have gone public. They are worth tens of millions of dollars right now, and personally I have 4 patents in artificial intelligence. So my expertise is technology. I run a technology consulting company where we help other businesses come up with new technology solutions or improve their business. Primarily these days there's a lot of talk about AI, and I have spent more than 15 years building very large sophisticated systems with AI for many companies. So these days we are focused more and more on artificial intelligence.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's a good story. Yeah, everybody's talking about AI these days and the changes that are happening so rapidly, and we don't know where we're going to end up in the coming few years. I don't know. I'm just curious, and maybe you could tell us a bit more on that. But then we go back to where you're coming from and how you've arrived here before we dive deeper into the future.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mhm.
Well, anybody who grew up in a developing country, I'm sure you can relate to that. Uh, when you grow up in a developing country, the opportunities are very slim. They are not very easy to come by. So my journey started in India, and at 15, I was working in a factory, earning $2 a day, and I wanted to change my life. I mean, it was very difficult time, 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. And I realized that in order for you to improve your life, you really need to acquire a new valuable skill that people want. And for the longest time I could not figure out what that skill was. Eventually I found that software and technology was the thing that will add value to me, and through that I can add value to the world. And I enjoyed doing it, I was good at it. So everything sort of came together when I found my passion for technology, and that's how things changed in my life. That's how, it led me to various accolades that I have now. All these patents and working with large corporations and impacting millions of lives. The common thread between all of that is technology.
I agree to that. And as we said, with the way things are going, and is going to be more necessary, more needed in the coming years than it has ever been. Now, we love being inspired at Now Tell Us. And your story, I had a glimpse of your story from how you just made a decision that this is over. I'm going to stop. I'm going to come out of where I am into somewhere else. Can tell us that story, inspires a bit.
See, inspiration can come from any place. So for me, what happened was one day I was sitting in at lunch hour in the factory, and I was going through these business magazines. So in the factory you have all these business magazines, and I was just flipping through those, and I read a story about other tycoons in that time. This was 1992, 1990, early 1990s. And
Mm-hmm.
I read the stories of these tycoons who went from nothing and made billions of dollars. And I was like, these people have the same body as me. They have the same mind as me. They have, you know, one nose, two ears, same thing. What is different about them that I don't have, right? So that started puzzling me. That okay, how can somebody achieve so much and I'm sitting here, not doing anything?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the inspiration that okay, if you want to do something, you cannot wait for other people to come and save you. You have to get up and take action and figure out how to change your own life. We are all responsible for our own life. So
Mm-hmm.
that was the first inspiration for me to see that okay, anything in this world is possible if you put your mind to it. And then the next step is okay, what do you want to do? Because again, you can get inspired, but again, if you don't take action on that inspiration, nothing will change. So the
Mm-hmm.
next step was what is the action I should take? And the action was to figure out what kind of skills are valuable, because I realized what I was doing in the factory, millions of other people can do.
Yeah.
If I don't work there immediately, I'll be replaced with somebody else. But there are many 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 skills in this world that you once you learn those skills and you get really good at it, you don't it's not like you have a lot of competition that people you can be replaced, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you become a surgeon, if you become like a very good lawyer, so these are the type of professions that people generally look at. so
Mm-hmm.
for me so for me it was like okay, I cannot become a doctor, I don't have money to go to medical school. I cannot become a lawyer, I don't have money to go to law school. So what can I do? And so then at that time, technology was just coming up. So this is also another thing where sometimes you have to look at what is happening around you in the world, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to ride the wave, because the world is always, it goes up and down in waves.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever is the current wave of progress, if you find interest in that and if you're good at it, then you can ride that wave very quickly. So for
Mm-hmm.
me it turned out to be I was at the right place at the right time, because technology was coming up. But that doesn't mean that today there are no opportunities. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, today there are hundreds of more opportunities than I had in 1990s. Today you can learn anything, and I mean, literally you can go to YouTube and learn anything. You don't even have to spend a dime, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, you can get inspired from any place, and then you can figure out what are the steps you need to take to improve your life. If you do those two things today, In 5 years, in 10 years, in 25 years, your life will be completely different than what you think it is today.
Wow, that's very good. And looking around now, we are talking much about AI, and then we have some people who could be in a position to make decisions, life lasting decisions right now. And you talk about looking around and identifying the things that are working, the potential that we have now. Since everybody is talking about AI and many people are jumping into AI, do you still see an opportunity for someone who is just getting started to jump into the same field and and
Mm.
succeed in it?
Okay, so let me give you this idea. Okay,
Okay.
so AI has been around for a long time. It has been around since the 70s. Okay, I have been working with AI for 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but people don't realize that this is just getting started. Like right now
Mm-hmm.
is so early, very, very early. I'll give you a couple of examples. So the CEO of IBM, he has said that AI is going to add about $10 trillion, trillion with a T, to
Mm-hmm.
the world economy by 2030.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so to understand what 10 trillion means, it's more than 10% of the current world GDP, meaning annually the whole world, whatever we produce as humans, it's more than 10% of that, and it will
Mm-hmm.
be added in the next 7 years. Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we are not even we haven't even sort of crossed the threshold where things have started moving. There are still people debating, is AI good or not? Is it going to take away our jobs? Is AI going to kill humanity? That's the debate we are having.
Yes.
And it is the same debate that when the internet was just coming out, people were afraid of Y2K.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, if people are old enough to remember, in the year 2000, people were afraid, oh, the whole world will collapse because of Y2K.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, do you ever debate, oh, internet is harmful? Yes, there are problems, but our life is based on the internet now,
Yeah.
right? We
Everything
are,
we do.
we are talking to each other. You are in Greece, I'm in Canada. It's because of the internet, and
Yeah.
we will be distributing this interview to probably people across the world through the
Mm-hmm.
internet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same story. AI is going to be as powerful as electricity. So like if you can imagine your life without electricity, then you can imagine your life without AI. So
Yeah.
there is a tremendous opportunity still on the table, and it is not going to end. This is
Mm-hmm.
just a continuous cycle.
Mm.
Mm.
A continuous cycle. So to whoever is listening out there, it's just beginning. This is just the start. So you can make up your mind to follow and do what you have to do to be where you need to be in the coming few years.
Mhm.
And I like that part that you mentioned. First, going back, it's like you read one of my favorite poems. It's called "The Equipment" by Edgar Guest. I
Mhm.
don't know whether you've ever come across it. Says
Mhm.
that we've all that the greatest of men have had the two hands, two eyes, everything, so we can achieve anything that we want to achieve in this world. It's only a decision to say yes and get started. Say yes, I
Mhm.
can, and get started.
Exactly.
But now, since you are talking deeply about inspiration, now we have those people who have an idea and then they hear several ideas and they say, "Oh, that one can work for me," but then they don't take that step that they are required to take. How do you come from ideas into putting something into working order just by taking an? How
Mhm.
do you motivate yourself and inspire yourself to take an action?
Well, this is not about motivation, right? So
Mhm.
first thing is when the idea comes, you have to understand what is that idea, where are you going, what is your objective, what does the future look like? Because most people, when they think of an idea, they think about money.
Mhm.
Okay, they say, oh, I have an idea, I will make $1 million. but their mind is not about what they want to do. They want to have $1 million in their bank.
Mhm.
And when I ask them, okay, what do you want to do? And they're like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I ask them, do you enjoy it? It's like, no, no, but I know, I don't enjoy it, but like, this is where I think the money will come from. So that is the wrong approach. First of all,
Mhm.
you need to find what you enjoy doing, because achieving something great is not easy,
Mhm.
and every step of the way you will fail, you will find difficulties and all of that. And if
Mhm.
you don't love doing what you're doing, you will give up on day 1, or day 20, or day 30.
Mhm.
You started this podcast, I'm sure it was not easy.
Yeah.
And in order to get to a point where you are comfortable, exactly how to get the whole thing working, distributing the content, you have to make a lot of mistakes, you have to learn. But if you love what you're doing, it doesn't even matter, because whether it works or not, you're enjoying yourself, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's one thing. First of all, you need to find out what you enjoy.
Mhm.
Second, why are you doing it? Because a lot of people say, I want to make money. And then when I ask them, okay, let's assume you have that money, you have $1 million in your bank, what are you going to do with it?
Mhm.
They'll just generally say, oh, I'll take a vacation, I'll buy a home. And I said, okay, maybe you'll do that. You still have money left over, what are you going to do with that? And then after two or three things, they have no idea.
They have no idea at all. Yeah.
They have no idea, right?
Mhm.
So the thing is, first you need to get clarity on what exactly you want to experience in life with that $1 million. Make a
Mhm.
list. Make a list of 20 things you want to do. Who do you want to do it with? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to how what does that life look like? Have that clarity.
Mhm.
And then take action based on those steps. Meaning, let's say you want to start a podcast, right? So
Mhm.
the very first thing is, okay, let's figure out what platform we can use to record a podcast. What kind of mic can I use to have an interview? What kind
Mhm.
of camera I can buy? So people start to think, okay, they go right to the end. Okay, my podcast is number one, and I'm uh, I have audience all over the world, and they just focus on that, but they don't focus on the step that they can take today,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
the first thing is get clarity on what that future looks like, but then scale it back and say, okay, what can I do today? And it doesn't need to be the big step. It doesn't need to be you need to spend a lot of time or money to buy a lot of equipment. When I'm sure when you started your podcast, you said, okay, whatever works, let's just start. When
Yeah.
I started my podcast, I just got a very basic mic, and it didn't even work properly all the time.
Mhm.
So I said, okay, I'll do 20 episodes. If I like it, then I will upgrade my mic.
Mhm.
So start doing small little things toward that, so that you can be sure to yourself that you are committed to this, and then maintain consistency. The last thing is consistency. If you cannot do something every day, then don't even try, because without consistency nothing will actually materialize. the
Mhm.
world the world is like a musical instrument. Okay, this
Mhm.
universe is like a musical instrument. So what you want to do is you are just tuning your frequency to the universe's frequency.
Mhm.
So if you listen to a musical instrument, if there is no consistency, that music is going to be noise. You're not going to find it pleasant. But
Yeah.
if it's a consistent, like let's say you're listening to guitar, and the guitar player is stringing those strings consistently. That's what makes music.
Mhm.
So it's you consider yourself as a guitar, and you're just tuning your strings by taking action every day.
Mhm. Yeah. And if I don't strum my string, I would not know whether I'm out of tune or in tune.
Exactly, exactly.
So I'm gonna take that action to find out where I stand. Now,
Mm.
which has been your greatest achievement so far? That you every time you say, "Oh, I did it, I did that."
Well, greatest achievement, in my personal life, it has to be my sons. Like it's not achievement, but I consider that's my true treasure or wealth. My sons, my family. But professionally, I think the biggest achievement that I consider was when we created a technology that got attention from President Obama and Bill Gates, because
Mm.
it had such a big impact on society, on humanity, that people at that level took notice. And that is what I found very, very interesting, that somebody like me, who's an immigrant, came to a country and built something that got noticed from the most powerful people in the world.
And what was that, if it's okay with you, for you to share
Yeah,
with
yeah.
us?
Yeah. So it was a technology to help students complete their degree program in higher education, in degree programs in universities. As much as 30% of the students, they drop out in
Yeah.
the first 2 years of their programs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the reason is because they find that the courses they are taking, it's too difficult, or they don't find it interesting. So what we did was we created algorithms to match students with the right courses based
Mm.
on their interest, based on their historical data. So it's
Mm-hmm.
almost like Netflix recommends shows to us based on our history.
Mm-hmm.
So same thing.
Oh, that's wonderful. So I
Mhm.
don't end up into something that I don't identify with, something that
Exactly,
I
exactly.
don't have a passion for. So I
Exactly.
put down a few of my interest and
Mhm,
things that I've done before, and then it's gonna match me to the perfect
mhm, mhm,
tree.
mhm, mhm,
That's
mhm,
good. It's a good one.
mhm,
Yeah. Now we've been there. We've come all this way. You've done 15 years in AI, and as you say, this is the beginning. What should we expect? What more should we expect apart from what we are seeing already in AI?
mhm,
This is
mhm. Okay. Well, so imagine this scenario. In about 2 decades, it will be illegal for humans to drive on the road.
wow. That's interesting.
Okay.
Illegal for humans to
Um,
drive in the road. Okay.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if you can, like, just about what 50, 60 years ago, people used to travel in horse carts, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you take a horse cart on the middle of the highway today?
No, you cannot.
It's illegal, right?
Yeah, it's illegal.
Same thing. Same
Uh-huh.
thing is going to happen. Imagine in 10, 15 years, there's going to be companies, public companies, with one employee, because everything else will be done by AI.
Hmm. And wouldn't that fulfill the fear that we have been having all this time, that my job is going to be taken?
Okay, if
How
you
do
want
we
to,
how do we work out that? How do we replace
okay, I'll give you a few examples of that, right? So
that?
so the thing is that people who think pessimistically, they will think, oh, my job is going to be taken away. But
Mm-hmm.
I said something so profound that the people who are positive, they will attach to that, meaning, why do we do a job? Because I don't have the means to build a company. But if everything else can be done by AI, every human being on this planet has the power to build a company.
Hmm. Okay, that's
Right?
another perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now the other thing is, people also attach themselves to the definition of work. For us, human beings in the industrialized society, industrialization is not even 100 years old.
Mm,
The steam engine was invented about maybe about 100 years ago.
yeah.
Before that, everybody used to work. 99% of the population in the world used to work in the fields.
Mm,
Okay, in
mm-hmm.
100 years, we have come to define our work as 40 hours of work, where we go somewhere and then we do something. Somebody tells us what to do, and that is our work, right?
Mm-hmm.
In 2020, the whole world experienced a new thing where the government said, you sit at home, I will pay you. That became the definition of work.
Mm,
Just sitting at home.
yeah.
Okay, so the
Mm-hmm.
definition of work is flexible. If you can some somehow, if you can manage to expand your consciousness, you can say the definition of work is flexible.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2020, the government said definition of work is you just stay home, don't even do anything, I'll pay you. Okay. Now, when AI starts to do things, the definition of work can start to change, because music, art, poetry, philosophy, these things are not very important today because we have to work. But
Mm-hmm.
when AI is doing all these things, they can become work. Listening to each other, connecting with each other, these things can become work, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So today, if you go to like any freelancing website, or even you consider a profession like a therapist,
Mm-hmm.
therapists, all they do is listen,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to get above this notion that work is hard work of 40 hours of work, or whatever. So when technology changes, our lifestyle, our definitions, our society starts to change, and that's what's going to happen.
I can imagine that. I can just try to imagine. You know what I was thinking myself, like about a year or so ago, is I'm looking at all the traffic that we have around, and I did not have that idea that you brought that we won't be driving. What I had in mind is that in the coming 10 years or so, we have our own personal helicopters. Everybody is going to be, we will be in the air. But again, now with your kind of perspective, then it won't even be us driving, it will be machines in the air that we this is.
Exactly. I mean, and anybody who has taken a flight from one place to another knows the pilots don't fly airplanes these days.
Hmm.
They are just there to make sure nothing drastic happens. But
Yeah.
actually, airplanes fly themselves. The
Hmm.
trains, no, I mean, trains don't need drivers anymore.
Yeah.
Large ships that on the ocean that transfer all our goods from one continent to another, they don't need humans. It's all automated. All this thing is already automated, right?
Hmm.
Humans are there just to make sure in an emergency situation they can handle it, but that's already happening. So the thing is, big things have already been automated for years and years. People don't realize it. Now it is coming to a common person everyday life, and our cars, our helicopters, whatever you think of, that's the world we are going towards.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just so hard to imagine of what we are talking about. But I'm going back and flashing back to some 20 years back, I think, when I saw an advert in a newspaper that come listen to music and we'll pay you. And I was, what are you saying? So I went and tried. And for real, we went a room of about 500 people. We are seated and we are given headphones like the ones you have. And we are there for like 1 hour listening to music and just rating that music is just a star or some. And for 1 minute, we come out and everyone is paid on the. And I say, hey, I was paid to listen to music.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
these
Hmm.
are ideas that could not be comprehended right now, but there are things that happen. What you're just saying are things that we could expect to see in the future, in the near future.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and I agree with you. So it may be hard for us to believe, but it's going to happen. Things are going to
Hmm.
happen, and we are already seeing them unfold.
Hmm.
This is interesting. So we are almost coming to the end of this show, but then we would like you to just tell us things that we haven't mentioned that you think we shouldn't go away from this episode without hearing.
See, the idea right now, one message I want to make sure that people get is there's a lot of misinformation, there's a lot of fear. As we said, people are afraid AI is going to take my job away and whatnot. But if you can put aside that fear, because technology is always neutral, technology is not never like, think about fire. You can use fire to cook your food, or you can burn down the home, right?
Hmm.
With the car you can go get food, or again you can run over somebody, kill somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So technology is never malicious or have any negative intent. It's the humans who use the technology.
Mm-hmm.
So AI is very powerful technology. Do not give in to the fear or misinformation. Use it to your advantage, because if you don't use it, this other person, your competition is going to use it, and you will be out of job. That I can guarantee,
Mm-hmm.
because AI is not going to take the job away. Somebody who uses AI will take the job away.
So I should start getting serious on knowing AI.
Exactly. So, and I'll give you a quick example. So
Mm.
again, think about 1990s, 1995. Okay, that was the first time I got my email address.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before that, I didn't even know what email is. Right?
Yes, yes.
It took us 3 years. 1998, when I applied for my job, without email address, you could not apply even for an entry level job. 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
You had to
So
use email. Each and everyone had to use email. Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the same situation here. People cannot believe, oh, AI is oh, I don't need to use AI, blah blah blah. But in 3 years, if you don't use it, everybody else is using it. Where do you think you will be?
Hmm. Yeah, we need to just get to find out more, to get knowledgeable on AI.
Mhm,
Yeah. And thank you very much for sharing all this with us.
mhm.
Now, for those of you who may have come and found us going on in this episode of Now Tell Us, we have a guest with us, Manuj Agarwa. Agarwal. That's how I pronounce it correctly. And our title was coming from 2 days, from $2 a day to the boardrooms of Fortune 500. Now, and I see the future, Manuj being from the boardrooms of Fortune 500 to the boardrooms of trillions. Now that's, that's and I'm talking about the companies that are coming, the ideas that you need to pass to every person who's out there to understand more AI and inspire them to just keep moving and changing with the times.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much, Manuj.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, I also thank each and every person who's been watching us, and also those who may get to listen to this or watch this after we are through with it. We thank you for taking your time and watching. Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this has been Now Tell Us. And oh, by the way, there could be someone interested in knowing, hey, how can I find Manuj? How can I connect with Manuj? Please tell us how to go about that.
Or just Google my name, Manuj Agarwal, or go to my website, manujagarwal.com, or connect with me on LinkedIn. Either one, just find me, let me know you heard me on this podcast, and what are you trying to do, and how can I help?
What kind of people should connect with you?
People who are innovators, people who want to, participate in the future, people who are risk takers, people who are positive, not people who are, oh, I'm afraid my job is going to be. I don't want to, uh, address your fears, but people who are fearless and they see positive future. That those are the people I want to talk to.
Okay, thank you very much. So once again, rush over to www.manujjagawar.com and connect with Manuj.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's about it for today. This has been Now Tell Us, and I have been your host, Anthony Moirore, and together with Manuj, our guest, we are saying, hey, learn AI and keep moving, keep going. Just take action where you needed to. Thank you, and bye for now.